External brake. Completed.
Well, one thing that's pretty interesting about the B-52 is the B-52, the ones that we're flying today have been around, they were built in 1960. So if you look at the B-52 and how long it's been in service, it's one of the longest lasting airplanes in the U.S. inventory at this time. And one thing that I think is interesting about the B-52 is many different generations have flown this aircraft. My father flew the B-52. Now I've flown the B-52 for about 18 years. So there's many different stories like that where different generations have flown the same aircraft over and over again. Well, on Andersen, the B-52's mission is to provide stability to the Pacific AOR. And it does this basically in two different ways. One is it provides stability by deterrence of any potential adversaries, and the other way that it provides stability is it also reassures our allies that if they should meet any aggression from these potential adversaries, that we would be there to respond quickly and decisively. After the Vietnam War, we had a large cache of bombs that were here at Andersen. The most proliferate bomb that was here was the M117. This is a 750-pound bomb that was used in Vietnam during the Arc-Light raids. It was basically designed to make sure that the North Vietnamese were back to the bargaining tables. After the Vietnam War ended, those weapons were still here, and they're 1970s type weapon. And so they've been dropped for the last 30 years or so on a range up here north of the island. And last year they dropped the last of those weapons. So it was a good history marker from 30 years ago all the way up until now to drop the last weapons. The ones we employ today, the H models, were built in the 60s. So the strength of the B-52 is not really in that platform itself, but it's in the airmen. It takes several hours of ground operations for every hour that it flies in the air. So when they're flying long duration sorties, the aircrew flies a 20-hour sortie, for example. When they land, it would take well over 20 hours to get that B-52 ready to fly again. It is on the airmen and the maintenance crews to make sure that they keep this aircraft still viable today as it was throughout history.
Being a maintainer on the B-52 has given me a true sense of pride, not only from the various missions or exercises that we have conducted, the rich history that the B-52 possesses, but having the ability to meet aircrew and ground crew that worked on the B-52 from the 60s and 70s. The B-52 has definitely left a historical mark here on Andersen. During the Vietnam era, the B-52, its main capability was carpet bombing, which essentially it just dropped munitions out of the bomb bay, whereas now we can still do that as well as launch Alcoms and Calcoms, which we can launch up to 2 to 3 hours away from our target, and the aircraft's being outside of the blast radius. My best experience here on Andersen has definitely been the camaraderie between aircrew and ground crew, creating that bond and creating that trust where ground crew does their job and aircrew trusts us that we did our job properly so that they can conduct their missions effectively.
The B-52 has definitely paid its dues here at Andersen, and it's going to be sorely missed, but we're looking forward to a new era of bringing in the B-1 and a different airframe to make history here at Andersen with the B-1s.